Conceived in quarantine and born into a world we never would have imagined. A podcast featuring two friends, outrageous facts, and a countdown clock that always wins. This is 26 and 26, the A to Z of everything.
Brandon's the host. Ta 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 ta. 26 is the goal. Brandon's the host. Ta 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 ta. 26 is the goal, and he's not gonna get it. Ever.
We got songs. We're
rewriting. It's the remix competition starting off this godforsaken intro every time.
I like it, man. I want to hear it again. Do it again.
Brandon's the host. Ta 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 ta. 26 is the goal. Yeah, I don't know why I came up with that. Actually, it was a video. I was watching a movie the other day, and then I have no idea, but it hit me, and I was like, "We're gonna roll with it.
We're doing it. As a matter of fact, it's been done. It happened. That exists now. That's out there. We're not taking it back.
It'll never happen again.
We're not editing that out. That's staying. That's there 100%. As a matter of fact, we may start every episode with that.
And I hope not. How about we just move on to highlights? Brandon, what's your highlight?
I don't really have a highlight this week, but I do have a warning in advance. My apologies to all the people's names that I am going to definitely murder in this episode. And in this week's episode, it is people. So people's names are, some of them have got a lot of consonants, a ton of vowels, and good people. Some not so good, but mostly good people, but a lot of funky names.
Lot of big Scrabble scorers.
Yeah.
Am I going to be sitting in am I going to be sitting in the background just like putting together Scrabble sheets while you're reading off the letter P? I'm like, I don't even care. I'm totaling this up over here.
How do you pronounce a Y into a Q? I don't even know.
I'm sure there are some European countries that can explain it to us.
We've definitely got some Europeans in this episode. What about you? Highlight. Hit me.
Highlight. It is raining right now. It's been raining a little bit the last couple of days, and it's knocked the temperature down. I actually got to go for a bike ride yesterday, and it was still 100 degrees out, and I was drenched in sweat afterwards, but it's also been like been 3-4 weeks since I've really been able to ride my bike in the morning without it being absolutely brutally oppressively hot. So that was definitely the highlight of my week so far, was getting able to get back on my bike yesterday and enjoy it, especially after the rain. There's something special about the desert after the rain, and the little flowers on the cacti that bloom just the day after the rain, and there's this fresh smell. And yeah, let's finish recording this so I can go sit outside of my back porch and smell the rain.
Deal. I like it. And you absolutely, congratulations, robbed my thankful and grateful, but I'll come up with something between now and then. So congratulations.
To be fair, buddy. I was going to use the rain as my thankful and grateful as well. So I think we're just going to sing about the rain at the end of this episode. That'll be the song we close on.
This is a very special After Dark episode for people who watch on YouTube, and please do watch on YouTube. You'll notice behind me, you're not going to be blinded by the sun, which normally peers through my window. This is 26 and 26 After Dark. So what do you say? You want to list some stuff?
I mean, you want to list some stuff.
I look at it as an us thing. We're in on this together. This is our voyage that we're sharing with all the good people.
It's a 3-hour tour is more like it.
I am so skipper in that. God damn it.
All right. I've got a timer. You've got a timer. Let's start in 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, Gilligan, we're going to start with A, and that is Aristides de Souza Mendes. He was born in Bordeaux, France in 1940, a Portuguese diplomat. Aristides issued an estimated 30,000 Portuguese travel visas in order for Jewish families to flee persecution from the Nazis. Once his superiors had learned of his actions, he was ordered to go back to Portugal, dismissed from office, denied his pension benefits, and he went on to die in 1954, impoverished and entirely unsung. How is there not a movie about this guy? I mean,
How many did he get out?
30,000 people are alive as a result. Well, probably not anymore, but still 30,000 people didn't die in the Holocaust as a result of this guy issuing travel visas.
Yeah. What up, Schindler?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I don't think there's any
for that.
funny way to actually diss on Schindler, but still, I think this guy, he definitely did not get enough credit, and I felt we absolutely had to start with him because if we ran out of time.
Say his name one more time.
Orestes de Souza Mendez.
De Souza Mendez. All right. Well, good on you,
All right.
Mendez.
Moving along, we're going to go with Mr. Benjamin Franklin. We've all heard of Benjamin Franklin. We know who he was. But did you know dozens of bodies were found in Benjamin Franklin's basement?
Yeah, didn't they all have a certain skin color?
We are on fire tonight.
I mean, it's the After Dark episode, and there were bodies in Ben Franklin's basement. Like,
well, these bodies were pretty
here.
much just the remains, skeletons. But I mean, dozens of bodies, including 6 children, were found in his basement. Now, apparently, there is a plausible explanation, and it wasn't that Ben Franklin was a mass murderer, but there was an anatomy school that was run by Franklin's friend and protege, William Hewson. And that was reported by The Guardian. But I'm thinking he was actually just killing fools. I'm just like, that's another great movie, actually. Benjamin Franklin inventing during the day and just mass murdering at night, putting them in the basement.
Just dangling. Yeah, it was Ben Franklin with the kite and the string.
Oh yeah, he's zapping fools. Yeah, he's zapping fools.
He instead of keys dangling from the kite string, it's like fingers and appendages and like.
If they can make a movie about Abraham Lincoln killing vampires, they can make this movie.
Well, yeah, but Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer was a historical documentary.
That's true. That's true. That was 100% based on fact. No, okay, that's right.
100%.
There's documentation on that one. C for Chuck Feeney. This dude's rad. Former billionaire Chuck Feeney has given away over 99% of his $6.3 billion just to help underprivileged kids go to college. He's now only worth $2 million. Only $2 million. But I'm really surprised he didn't catch the space bug. Why? I'm surprised he's like, my whole thing is giving money to kids so they can go to school who are underprivileged. I'm surprised he didn't end up in space with our boy Bezos. Who I just found out is Cuban, like a Cuban American. Had no idea.
Bezos is Cuban American, really?
Yeah, grew up in Miami. Power to the people.
Ah, yes, the capital of Cuba, Miami.
Yeah, the Calle Ocho. I'm sending you love. D for Dave Thomas. The founder of Wendy's actually dropped out of high school, but picked up his GED in 1993. And this is the best part of his GED class. They voted him most likely to succeed.
Oh, if only they had any idea.
Oh, no. They knew exactly who he was. His rationale for going back to get his GED is he felt because of his extraordinary success and people would see, well, hey, Dave Thomas dropped out of high school. I can drop out of high school. So he said it was important to him to go back to set the example that it was, a necessary step in life. But could you imagine being... This was in 1993.
Yeah, when was Wendy's founded? I think that's the timeline I'm missing.
Oh, I have no idea, but it was well before 93.
Yeah, okay. So it was a well-established fast food chain, and then
he probably took the class to a Wendy's after their graduation. I mean, that's probably
free Frosties on Dave for graduating.
And a pretty safe
bring
bet
your
to be.
report card. Bring your report card to Dave and get a free Frosty.
I wanted to learn more about the other graduates of that GED class. Like, what did they went on to do? Like, were they really inspired? Like, hey, Dave can do this, so can I.
Long John Silver's.
Yeah, he went on to form Long John Silver's. Little known fact. E for Edith Wilson. Though we narrowly missed out just recently on America getting its first female president, many people don't realize that we already basically had one. After her husband, Woodrow Wilson, had a debilitating stroke, Edith Wilson stepped up to the plate. For over a year, Edith was basically the acting president of the United States while her husband recovered.
I mean, and not to mention her, but the majority of our listening audience will remember the Clintons and how she was running the office. So, I mean, but
Bill never was out with a stroke, though. He was always.
That's true. That's true. But
this is for 1 year while the man wasn't able to talk.
So she was like just straight running everything.
Yeah, no, and the thing was, how did we not learn this in school? How is this not how did she not make at least a chapter in one book I read in school? You know, this lady was basically the acting president for a year.
That's a whole conversation for a whole other podcast.
And probably not for two guys to discuss. F for Frank Oz. Now, Frank Oz has played a huge part in my upbringing. And I'm not sure if you remember him, but he's the voice and one of the creators of Yoda, Miss Piggy, Cookie Monster, all voiced by one person. It might sound like the most ambitious crossover since Avengers Infinity War, but Frank Oz provided the voice for all these characters from Star Wars, The Muppet Show, Sesame Street. I even knew as a kid, if I saw Frank Oz was involved, I was in 100%. Frank Oz all day long.
I am now hearing Miss Piggy and Yoda in my head, and it's kind of creeping me out.
You're hearing voices and it's Miss Piggy? Yeah, that's a little weird.
Well, yeah, and it's the same dude.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And what's cool, if you search him, there's basically a lot of really kind of inappropriate photos where he has basically got his hand inside of some of the most beloved characters from my childhood, and making them talk. And, so again, 26 and 26 after dark.
Go before I get us canceled. It's after dark, but not canceled.
Gravirillo Priscip, another name that I'm sure I got wrong. Gravirillo is the man who could certainly be claimed to have changed the course of the world. He assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand, which directly led to the breakout of World War I, but also indirectly to World War II. He fired his gun twice at the Archduke's car, killing both the Archduke and his wife. He was 19 at the time. He was too young for capital punishment, but he was sentenced to 20 years of imprisonment and died of tuberculosis in 1918, shortly before the war ended. The power of just one gun. I mean, this guy with one gun caused World War I and World War II. Pretty heavy.
Just think if there had been one good guy with one gun there,
see, that was
World
the problem.
War I and II would not have happened.
Well, what you want to fix that problem right there is another guy with a gun. Yeah. So now we got two snakes in the wall. See, H for Hedy Lamarr. Hedy Lamarr. Wow, I had no idea. Okay, actors in this world get a lot of credit for doing things that probably aren't that actually important. They're just acting and doing things. And even though some have given lots of money away, no actor, I believe, in history has ever been more influential or important to the world that we live in than Hedy Lamarr. She got her start, obviously, as an actress, but her real legacy is far more important. She immigrated to the United States from Austria. Lamarr devoted her life to science, creating something called spread spectrum technology. Do you know what that is?
Not a clue.
Have you ever heard of Bluetooth or Wi-Fi?
Oh, okay.
Hedy Lamarr basically invented the groundwork for Bluetooth and Wi-Fi in like the 1940s and 50s. That technology was basically brought on today. It's pretty amazing that, some of the stuff that's associated with the science aspect of this actress that pretty much all we know her for. And yeah, she should definitely be on a shirt.
At the very least.
At the very least.
Very.
I for Ida Lewis. Ida was an American lightkeeper who was called the bravest woman in America. She's the daughter of a lightkeeper who became very ill. So Ida and her mother were busy taking care of the lighthouse while their father recuperated. Ida was only 12 years old when she made her first rescue by helping four men whose boat capsized. When she was 15, she became the best swimmer in Newport. The lighthouse was surrounded by water. She had to row her siblings to school every day. After her father in 1873 mother, 1878, died, she became the official lighthouse keeper. For some time, Ida Lewis was the highest paid lighthouse keeper in the nation, all because she saved so many lives during her duty. She once saved 2 soldiers from a sinking boat, and a year later was given a medal for her heroism. She is the first woman to receive the Gold Congressional Medal of Honor for life-saving. During her 54 years on what was called Lime Rock, she is credited with saving 18 lives, but the unofficial count suggests she saved a whole hell of a lot more. She said, this is one of her famous quotes, "None but a donkey would consider it unfeminine to save lives." She died at age 69 of a stroke. Another amazing female who absolutely should have a movie made after her.
What time frame was she in again? I was looking.
She was 12 years old. This is the late 1800s.
Yeah, so late.
She should have made a movie after just for rowing her siblings to school every day.
Well, what I'm curious about is the 19th Amendment didn't pass until 1919, which means she was most likely doing this before she had the right to vote.
Oh, no, without question. I think my mom was alive when women, or my mom was alive when women got the right to vote. Wasn't it not that, like the 40s?
1919.
Oh, it was 19. Oh, that is 100% accurate.
Yeah, I mean, May 21st, 1919.
Okay.
It was ratified by the Senate on June 4th, 1919. It was officially certified August 26th, 1920.
Wow.
So if she was born in the late 1800s, then that would have taken place before she was allowed to vote, and that says a lot. I mean, not that voting is everything, but like that says a lot about your sacrifice with what you're getting back.
Absolutely.
And the respect. So.
J for James Harrison. James Harrison saved the lives of now our last gal, Ida, saved some people. Yeah. James has saved the lives of over 2 million people.
Well, he's the lead singer of Metallica, right?
He started the band Metallica, and he's known as the man with the golden arm. James's blood produces a rare antibody which cures his otherwise fatal Rous disease in unborn children. James has donated over 1,173 times, a Guinness World Record, and it's estimated that James's donations have saved the lives of 2.4 million babies. James was forced to retire as a blood donor when he reached the age of 77, which is the maximum age you're allowed to be in Australia. However, his blood has also been used to develop a medicine known as anti-D, which is hoped and will banish Rous disease in children forever. This is who we need to build statues of. Not men who take lives, but men who save them. This guy needs a statue on every country on this globe, without question.
I could not agree more, but I do have to point out something really, really funny.
I saw you make a face. What was it?
it was the way you read off the so he gave his last donation when he was 77, and the way you read it was, which is the maximum age you're allowed to be in Australia.
Oh.
And left it there. Not maximum age and donate in Australia. It was maximum age 77 in Australia.
You gotta go to New Zealand. Here. Go to New Zealand. Get out of here. Beat it.
78, you're a Kiwi now.
Tasmania for you.
Yeah, no, it was just the max age you can be in Australia. I'm like, I don't think that's what he meant to say. Not to detract from the man's wonderful achievements, but that was funnier.
Speaking of achievements we're not going to achieve today, we're not getting far in this episode. No. Margaret Knight. She was an American inventor sometimes called Woman Edison. When she was 12 years old, she invented a device that would automatically stop a machine if something got caught in it. It was soon used in mills. As a young woman, she worked in a paper bag plant where she packed things into bags. At the time, paper bags didn't have a flat bottom, which made me wonder, what were they made out of, which was very inconvenient. So Margaret invented a flat bag folding machine. Her machine automatically folded glued paper bottoms. Unfortunately, her idea was stolen by who? A man, Charles Anam, who spied on her. In court, as his argument, he basically couldn't prove that he made it, but she went on the stand and basically destroyed him, saying exactly how it was done. And when they asked him, he had no concept. During her life, she collected 26 patents and created 100 inventions, including the rotary engine, a shoe cutting machine, and yeah, she's significant, and a skirt shield. Her paper bag machine is still used to this day. And I know a paper bag lunch still sparks joy with me. It's just one of those, ooh, I feel like a little kid and I'm happy and I got my little Sammy. Let's go. Speaking of let's go, Sybil Ludington. Everyone knows about the midnight ride of Paul Revere, but did you know that he wasn't the only one riding at midnight? At age 16, Sybil Ludington rode with Revere to alert the townspeople of the arrival of the British forces. Often left out of the Revere story, Sybil rode twice as far as Revere and did it riding side saddle. She was robbed. A couple folks also didn't get recognition. I know there's another guy, Israel Bissell, basically had doubled the length of time or ride that Revere had, and he didn't get any credit just because it didn't work in the song. I think the song is pretty much what made him famous. M for Maurice Hillman. All right. Not all achievements require bravery and self-sacrifice. Take Maurice Hillman. For example, Maurice found other ways to change the world. He created a number of vaccines, which are still a hot button issue in this world today. He developed the Mumps vaccine after his daughter contracted the illness in 1963. He took a swab of the back of her throat, drove to his laboratory in the middle of the night, and figured out a way to turn what he had swabbed into the vaccine that we still use today. What a dad. He didn't stop there. In total, Maurice has single-handedly developed more than 40 different vaccines. Hepatitis A, hepatitis B, you're welcome, Pamela Anderson, chickenpox, meningitis, pneumonia. I mean, the list goes on. But I guess, with all the lives he's saved and the world that he's changed, I guess there's still not enough research on vaccines, though.
I was going to say, so it was Mumps that he came up with his daughter.
That was his first one because of his daughter, yeah.
And he did that by swabbing her throat and then going and finding it in his lab overnight. That's part of the MMR vaccine, measles, mumps, and some virus that starts with an R. I've had that vaccine. It's something you have to get to go to school as a kid in the United States. It's been a thing for decades.
He felt good about it after one night of research to get his daughter fixed her up.
Hey man, I watched this video on Facebook.
My opinion's just as valid. I drive a truck.
And it's got nuts.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I don't think it's right. N for Nellie Bly. Groundbreaking investigative journalist Nellie Bly went undercover as a patient in an insane asylum in order to expose the abuses that were taking place there. In 1887, another pre-voting woman pioneer. The following year, another assignment saw her turn a novel Around the World in 80 Days into reality when she traveled around the globe all by herself in 72 days. She did this in the 1800s.
How?
Grit, gumption.
You didn't look it up?
What do you mean? Around the world in 80 days? How would you else do that besides a balloon?
I would assume it was a balloon, but I don't know. Maybe there's a boat involved.
Oh, well,
that was why I asked. Curious.
Yeah. No. She had to, because of the book, she followed the basic. Okay. Yeah. So in the balloon. Yeah, I looked it up. I did my research. For oldie but a goodie, Jean Clement. I love these stories. Jean is the longest living human verified. She's 122 years old and 164 days when she passed. It's an official, verified, documented record. There's some other folks who claim to be older, but there's no birth certificates involved that don't involve crayon handwriting on them. Born in France, she met Vincent van Gogh at age 13 at her uncle's store. She got married at 21. Janine outlived her husband, daughter, and a grandson. She was smoking all the way through. She quit smoking at 117 years old. Why would you quit then? She loved cycling. She rode her bike until her 100th birthday. She explained why she has lived such a long life. She goes, always keep smiling. I attribute my long life to that. I believe I will die laughing. That's part of my program. This is the best. I love it when you hear about these 100-year-old people who just smoke and drank to the day they died.
Oh, yeah. 120. When was she? What year was she born? Do you have that?
No, I don't have that.
What year she died?
No. You know what, folks? Stay tuned for more information about this, and you can Google it yourself. Speaking of Googling it yourself, let's move along. P for Percy Julian. Percy was a doctor who lived under Jim Crow. He pioneered the drug industry. After he developed the chemical synthesis of hormones like progesterone, testosterone, he became the first African-American chemist inducted into the National Academy of Sciences. His research also laid the groundwork for the modern-day steroid. This one definitely hits home for me. Some of the stuff that he worked on has led to basically me being able to start a family. It is an incredible, incredible human being. Time is of the essence, so I'm going to jump along to Q. Question your history, and that's Claudette Colvin. Colvin basically did exactly what Rosa Parks did, only she did it before Parks. She didn't get any credit simply because she was pregnant and out of wedlock at 15 years of age. She wasn't as marketable a story. The newspapers wouldn't pick it up. They basically said this unwed, pregnant 15-year-old isn't going to get this kind of credit. So Rosa Parks did years later. This is the only person who gets to eye roll the name Rosa Parks when it's said. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I'm also thinking about the fact that I know of a certain group of people that really kind of gather together around the idea of a pregnant 15-year-old girl that had a kid a couple thousand years ago. So I think pregnant 15-year-old stories can get traction, but maybe not if they're standing up for human rights.
26 and 26 after dark. R for Rick Rescorla. This man's name isn't well known by many, but it should be because he's the reason that so many people survived the attack at the World Trade Center. He's a retired military officer. He implemented escape plans for the building, making it possible for so many to make it out alive. Unfortunately, the man died himself trying to help others escape. All I can say is thank you, Rick. You are the definition of what a hero is.
Yeah, thank you.
S. Samuel J. Seymour, a witness to Abraham Lincoln's assassination. He was interviewed on TV. Yeah, that's the sentence I just said.
Not after the assassination.
Not after the assassination, but Samuel was just 5 years old when he attended a play at Ford's Theater on that fateful evening of April 14th, 1865. He was seated actually in the balcony directly across from the president and says he heard the shot and then saw Lincoln slumped over. He watched as John Wilkes Booth jumped onto the stage before fleeing. However, in February 9th, 1956, 2 months before his death, Seymour recounted the story on the CBS TV show, I've Got a Secret. Just, it doesn't seem possible. I mean...
Also, it doesn't seem like much of a secret. I think a couple other people knew that Lincoln got shot.
Well, I think the idea was there's three people were telling a secret and you had to tell which one was the truth. Was the basis of that show.
That's
so I have a feeling
that's the show. Okay.
He won. Right. Anybody who said that was like, yeah, I don't believe this guy. All right, we got to go with time. T for another name I'm going to get wrong. Tusamuo Yamaguchi was in Hiroshima for work when the first atomic bomb hit. He fled Hiroshima, made it home to Nagasaki for the second bomb to hit. Yeah, he lived to be 93. He's either the luckiest person or the least luckiest person of all time. How much time we got, buddy?
We've got 2 minutes, and I want to know, how did they not do experiments on him? I feel like that's enough radiation exposure that
how is he not the first like Marvel character? You know,
how was he not just a walking glow stick?
Like, I didn't say he wasn't. I didn't say he wasn't.
That's true. That's true.
You wouldn't be here, Alexander Fleming. We wouldn't be around if it wasn't for Fleming. So it's funny that no one knows who he is. Fleming was the inventor of antibiotics. This should be a household name without question. V. Violet Jessup.
Oh, I thought you had something for him. This should be a household name.
No, he just should be a household name, I think, right?
Fair. Yeah. All right. Yes, you should. All right. Moving on.
V. Violet Jessup was a steward who worked. This one's creepy. She was a steward who worked for White Star Line in the early 1900s. She was aboard the Titanic when it sank, and she survived. What makes her story more interesting was than the rest of the survivors. She was aboard the Titanic's two sister ships, both of which sank, both of which she survived. I mean,
Okay.
Just, no one wanted to look into this? Nobody?
Maybe we should find the common denominator. It's been a while since
all
I've done.
3 boats have in common?
I don't think I knew the Titanic had 2 sister boats.
Yeah, I didn't know that either, actually. I had no concept. And that the fact that they sank the White Line cruise ship company is just yikes.
Maybe somebody needs to take a look into them, the engineers, the insurance company. Anything.
W. We got to get this guy because in Arizona, this man is king. W for Willis Carrier, another inventor. Carrier invented something that is very much used in almost every country, air conditioning.
I love this man.
Yeah, he invented it, first modern air conditioning system, and we're out.
Okay, tell me about the guy that made my life easier so I can live in this desert during the summer.
Basically, temperature control indoors. He controlled humidity, he controlled the circulation and ventilation, cleansing the air. Without these 4 elements, air conditioning was downright dangerous to use over time. In 1911, Carrier presented his initial schematics, what came to be known as the Magna Carta of psychometrics. Making it possible for the first time ever to design air conditioning systems that fit into whatever requirements they needed. So there's no doubt this guy, 100% big ups to old Willie. We appreciate you. We wouldn't be living or capable to live in the desert without you.
Yeah, you are what keep our testament to man's ignorance alive and well in this oven that we call home.
Speaking of ignorance and inability, we failed to get through it once again. I don't think we're shocking anybody at this point, though.
That was I like that. Yeah, but it was only X, Y, and Z, which is farther
than I thought we were going to.
We said, 4 or 5 episodes we were going to keep track of which ones we actually got. I'm trying to remember. How many did we get through last one? I don't know.
I don't pay attention to that sort of thing.
Oh, you listen to that show? They don't even finish the letters. Why bother?
I only count my successes, not my failures.
So, welcome to episode 1 of 26 and 26.
No, but that's not really the purpose. We just want to try to share as much information. As a matter of fact, we're probably going to try to figure something out with these extra letters. They're starting to build up, and enough of you are saying, I want the last letters, which are the hardest letters, actually. Finding stuff for X, Y, and Z. Nightmare.
I'll give you this, though. I think U was the only letter that you used that the name did not start with the letter. I think that was the only one. Every other one lined up, like first name or last name. I think U was because U was you ought to know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was the only one where the letter wasn't a name. So
you wouldn't be here, Alexander
You
Fleming.
wouldn't be here. That's what it was. Yeah. So either way, kudos for actually, alphabetizing and like the letters correspond with.
And it was actually tough because there's some good ones like, all right, do you know who Wilford Brimley is?
Dude, my 2020 was just fine until that sweet, innocent man passed away.
I know it.
There was nothing wrong with 2020, and then that man passed, and my world crumbled.
And the thing was, I knew when it came down to it for W, I had to give love to Willis Carrier for making sure that I'm comfortable and cool. Wilford never brought me cold air. But what I did learn about him is that Wilford Brimley was Howard Hughes's bodyguard.
I know the name.
Howard Hughes, as in Hughes Aviation, which became Boeing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Leonardo DiCaprio played the movie, I think it was, So if you actually watch the movie, you can see the movie starring Leonardo DiCaprio. There's a scene where he's talking to his bodyguard and he asks Howard, would you like some oatmeal? Or have you been tested for the diabetes recently? It's very quick in the movie. It happens very fast. You don't realize it, but that's Wilford Brimley. And anybody who's taking me seriously should know better. But he was actually Howard Hughes's bodyguard, Wilford Brimley. So that's some of the ones, an example of some of the content we had to pass on so we could get Willis in there.
Yeah. Also, I just found out that in the Dark Knight trilogy, Christopher Nolan used Howard Hughes heavily as inspiration for Bruce Wayne's father.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, sure. Yeah. I could see it.
Just that alternate,
shut in.
Like, yeah, just more money than you know what to do with. Like,
that makes sense.
I mean, that makes, today I learned. So,
all
right. Well, what are you thankful and grateful for?
I'm thankful to see, I was thankful for the rain until you robbed me of it. And boy, oh boy, do we needed it. So really what I think, I'm happy to see people rise up. People just didn't stand what they were dealing with in Cuba, and they decided we've had enough of it. We're over it, and we're going to do something about it. I'm not going to get too deep into it because I don't think this is the place for that much politics, but it hits home for me as a Cuban American, and I just want to say how proud I am of the people saying, we're putting our foot down, we're starving, we're hungry, and we're still going to fight. And it's a lesson for all of us, no matter how down and out you are. Just stand your ground.
Oh, absolutely. I have much love for the people of Cuba. That is still probably to this date my favorite country that I've ever gotten to visit. And
it's pretty cool.
It was because of the people. Like, the city was cool, Veradero was cool, but like the people are what make that. So, you know what? I'm thankful for the Cuban people because they're freaking amazing. They really are. Just Bonnie was my good friend in Cuba. And yeah, I'm just going to piggyback off of that because you're right. This isn't really the political platform to speak on it, but it is something really cool happening right now that I'm thankful for as well. And actually, I'm thankful that you're paying attention to it because I saw your Instagram post about it. And that's how I was like, oh, some stuff is going down. I should pay attention. And everybody else should as well.
Awesome, man. I'm also super thankful for the music that was heard in this episode, which was created by the one, the only Mr. Mike DeChico. You can check out all his cool stuff at domesticatedrobot.com. Yeah.
That's it. I think that's a wrap. So Brandon, why don't you take us out of here?
We leave you now with love and light and this. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Maya Angelou. Truth. All right, Nathaniel, in under 26 seconds and in alphabetical order, tell us how they can find us. Go!
A, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you listen to podcasts. F, Facebook, 26in26A2Z. I, Instagram, 26in26A2Z. T, Twitter, 26in26A2Z. W, website, www.26in26.com. Y, YouTube, 26in26, the A to Z of everything. Time.